What's up, Internet? I'm Tor the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this is IMPERIUS REX. On this show, we'll be going over the highly anticipated Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Our beers are open, our minds are open. Let's get this shit started.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to go off track a little bit this episode. Normally we really delve into the comic-heavy stuff, but there's something coming up this week that we simply can't ignore. After almost 3 years of threatening us with it, the Batman vs. Superman movie finally hitting theaters.
Oh boy.
What a time to be alive, huh?
It's an amazing time.
The level of excitement on this in relation to all the other superhero movies coming out this year, what's it at? What are you thinking?
Number?
1 to 5?
6.
Oh. 5 being the lowest. I should have specified that.
You're erupting.
Oh, man. Well, obviously it's very high. The anticipation is bubbling over.
Great.
Oh, man. I mean, but seriously, it's a good year. Every month we've got a different, great-looking property. Yep. Every one of them, I'm excited to see. There's no Ant-Mans, there's no Fantastic Four this year.
It's the big leagues.
Yes, we finally made it. It's all coming together to finally release the superhero movie that everyone has been wanting to see for decades.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Troy.
Yes.
Predictions. What's this film gonna be?
I think it's gonna be a 2.5-hour epic, and it's gonna be probably exhausting after you get done seeing it. And I think it's going to be very polarizing, to be honest. But
well, we know about all the troubled shoots, the reshoots, the delays, the mind-bogglingly poor second trailer sandwiched between two amazing trailers, inadvertently concocting a movie trailer shit sandwich.
Yeah, well said.
But ignoring all that, what are we going to see this weekend?
Batman v Superman.
Great. But we've got a couple days before the fight of the century. So what can a comic fan do if he or she's just, like the beer, overflowing with anticipation in preparation for this movie? Anything they can read, anything they can watch, anything they can intravenously inject themselves with to take the edge off until showtime? Maybe giving themselves a taste of what they're going to see on the big screen?
Just a taste.
Just a taste.
They just want to dive in head first?
No, they're just going to take a taste.
Well, I would recommend Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns from 1986.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Staple of the Batman series.
Not only just a staple of the Batman series in general, but it from what you've seen already in the trailers, it looks like that comic book. With the bat armor and even the Batman costume.
Yeah, aesthetically it looks right out of that. We've been told that, they take elements from it. There's certain themes that carry through. It's not a direct adaptation by any means. But, it's the first movie to really bring that into the cinematic universe. Yeah, and everybody says, every director from every Batman movie says, they took inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns, but not really. You really don't, no.
The only reason they have it is because Batman's in it.
Exactly.
That's about it.
And, they like to say that because Dark Knight Returns is probably the single most important Batman story of all time. Without a doubt, one of the most critically acclaimed and, influential across the entire scope of Batman mythos. I would agree 100%. So it was originally published in a 4-part prestige format, which is kind of like a soft, kind of like a trade paperback before trade paperbacks came out. What's a trade paperback? It's kind of like a collection of 6 issues. So what's a prestige format book? It's like one long issue. Yep. With a slightly heavier stock of paper on the covers. With a cardstock cover or something like that. Yes. Glad we got that out of the way. That may be important. Let's talk more about cardstocks. So, it was a 4-part series. Yep. General gist of it, do you want to recant the audience? I'll do it. All right. Batman comes out of retirement. He's been away for years. Yeah. Kind of retired. Comes out of retirement essentially to battle Two-Face, who's kind of returned. Yeah. also gets into a brawl with this up-and-coming gang of mutants, kind of like a terrorist army.
And because they've taken over all over Gotham City as well.
Yep. Joker makes a reappearance. He's kind of been Adderalled out in a mental hospital with Batman gone. He really has no purpose to enjoy his antics anymore. So Batman's back. Joker back on the scene.
Yep.
And then the whole thing wraps up with just an astounding fight of Batman versus Superman, which is really kind of the main takeaway of the book. That's the thing that everyone talks about.
Yep.
Along the way, he acquires a new Robin, female this time, Carrie Kelly, I believe, who, up until recently, I don't think was ever in any of the mainstream universe. I think just recently they kind of added her into the continuity.
They're trying to like wedge her in.
Oh yeah. Wonder why. Maybe they think this movie's gonna bring in some money.
Really take off.
But like we said, this is kind of the first Superman versus Batman dynamic in the comic book world. There's probably been other times when they scuffled a bit, but not like this.
Yeah, it's not going to be like this book right here.
What's that book?
It's The World's Finest, and it's Batman's Super Spending Spree.
Oh, well,
it's not going to be that kind of scuffle, but
more like the studio Super Spending Spree.
But this is like the first book that Batman actually calls Superman Clark, and they actually refer to each other by the first name, which they've never done. It's always just been, hey Batman, hey Superman.
The glasses are off. And also the first appearance of the Bat Robo armor, the Kryptonite ring, I think.
Maybe, I don't know.
There's really no way to find out.
There's no way to find out.
And like, I love this when it came out. Of course, I was born when it came out, so I was I was generally pretty happy to be out of that. Out of that birth canal anyway. But years later, when I grew to appreciate it and got back into comics, like in high school, I checked this book out, and it got me like back into the medium. Because it's like Batman, everyone knows Batman.
Yeah.
But like, you haven't seen Batman like this. This is like Clint Eastwood, Gran Torino Batman chasing, putting the cowl on and chasing kids off his lawn by breaking them and crippling them, and he's just he's an all-out violent vigilante in this. He's just sick of their shit.
Yeah.
So, it's good. Definitely recommended. Any cons about the book?
I would say, if you're into like more modern comic books now, or at least know what they look like, the art style could be a little bit off-putting. But that's like Frank Miller's art style, and it's not gotten any better.
It's de-evolved from there, actually. But the art is immediately off-putting. If you just pick this up off the shelf and take a look, you're just like, gah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's very text-heavy. There's just a ton of panels.
Yeah.
And
that was how it was in the 80s.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. It's not terribly flashy.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where, like, you just look at that, immediately turned off, back up, go to the first page, just start reading.
And the substance is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the art grows on you eventually.
Yeah.
And at some point, you begin to appreciate it for what it is in an ugly, beautiful sort of way.
Yeah.
But, eventually the story is just so good, you're just engrossed in it, and you're just flying through it.
The first time I read it, I wasn't actually a huge fan of it, and I thought it was a little bit boring.
Well, you're an idiot.
I know. But I reread it since, and I actually really liked it a lot more, actually, with every subsequent read that I've had, because I think I've read it 3 or 4 times all the way through. Like, I like it even more.
Yeah. It's just like a really great finale to the Batman character.
Right.
Like, that's kind of what it was written as, like the last Batman story. Until the next last Batman story he wrote, Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is best left undiscussed.
Good.
But no, this is good. Look at it as like the last Batman story, and it's perfect. Good, like, conclusion to a long-running superhero character. Yeah.
It's like, it's so good that, like, this future story, you can see, like, DC trying to make it canon. In, certain ways.
Like, I always get the feeling that they use it as, like, this benchmark that every Batman story that's being written currently is building to.
Yeah.
Like, every writer that takes on Batman, they're driving to the Dark Knight Returns. Like, that is where the story is going, and they might throw little hints or something in, but I don't know if they've ever said that's where it ends, but it's, it's a good ending.
It is a good ending.
I'd like to think it's the end, especially knowing what comes after it. I like to think it's the end.
Going a little bit, swerve a little bit to his third installment of the Dark Knight series. Have you read any of that yet?
I've heard it's typical Frank Miller craziness.
Yeah.
Which I think Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Yes.
Caught everyone off guard because for the longest time he was a legitimate comic book creator.
Yeah.
His stuff was good.
He was top dog.
And now his stuff is insane. And it's equally entertaining in that regard, as long as you acknowledge that you're reading the works of insanity.
Yeah.
So if you know that going in, have a blast.
Yeah.
But like that immediate step where like, oh man, Dark Knight Returns, my favorite book, can't wait to see what he's doing next. Yeah!
Can't wait to see when he strikes again.
Yes.
And oh boy.
Oh man. Next one on the docket is the 2002 Hush.
Yep.
And this is firmly a Batman story. It's not a Superman story. It's a 12-issue miniseries that essentially acts as kind of like a greatest hits version of Batman, where every issue meets up with a different villain or kind of important character, has a bit of a scuffle, moves on, and it's like a big mystery written by Jeff Loeb before he ruined the Ultimate Universe and lost all credibility in comics, and drawn by Jim Lee, and I think that's a big factor in why everyone loves this book.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but it's good. No big surprises, but it's all there.
Yeah.
They hit all the notes.
Yeah, and everybody is in it. Like, anybody in, like, the Batman universe, like, it's in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And there's one issue in particular, it might be 4 or 5 or something, where he has a pretty good drag-out fight with Superman.
Yeah.
Superman's controlled by Poison Ivy.
Yep.
And it's very reminiscent of Dark Knight Returns, where Batman's got to put on the ring and just piss pound him.
Yep.
And it's good. It's one of those where, like we said, it gets a lot of acclaim for the art, and it's some of the best Batman imagery you'll see. Dynamic superhero Batman, Jim Lee does it probably better than just about anybody. Yeah,
Jim Lee, especially in this book, like, I'm off and on with Jim Lee, to be honest, but, like, this book, Jim Lee, like, knocks it out of the park. Another good story to read is 1996, Mark Waid and Alex Ross' Kingdom Come. And it's the story of Superman kind of coming out of retirement to square off against the younger generation of new, like, violent 90s type heroes.
That's kind of a big reoccurring theme in comics lately. Especially
for Mark Waid. That's a good theme for him, too. And it's a bit of a role reversal from The Dark Knight Returns, where it's more of a Superman-centric story than a Batman, but still it has, like, factions. It's like a Superman faction, a Batman faction, and even, like, a third one that kind of war against each other a little bit. Yeah. It's like a Lex Luthor Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam is kind of like his odd job henchman in it, isn't it?
And it's awesome. Yeah. Like, this is one of my, like, favorite stories. That's actually one of my favorite comics I ever bought as well, because it's one of the first ones I ever read, so I like kind of like a good
special place in your heart.
Yeah, exactly. And like, to go with more of a Batman-centric side, like, he's got almost all of crime controlled in Gotham, because it's turned into like this police state, where he's like, they got these Batman robots like patrolling all of Gotham, and they're almost like the old, like, Alex Ross likes to do like these throwbacks to old comics. And the Batman robots have like the old front grille of the old Batmobile as like their chest and faces and stuff. And so there's that, and Superman is like on a farm, like trying to, I think it's
just have a normal life.
Yeah, and he's like kind of Jesus-like. He's got like a beard, and he's got a long ponytail and stuff, and graying at the temples. And it takes Wonder Woman to pull him out of retirement to go help, fight like with all these, with the Golden Age heroes, to like just stomp out all these like little assholes.
Get the band back together.
That's exactly what it is.
These kids out here, they're ruining the biz.
But it's not in continuity. But this is another story, too. In fact,
This is an Elseworlds book.
Yeah, it is.
And like one of the first, right?
Well, not one of the first.
Not one of the first, but it's one of the most recognized.
It is. But it's a great read. Alex Ross does all the art in it. He's not just a cover artist, which makes it impressive. If I had only one complaint with his art, is that it's so photorealistic that sometimes when he does like kind of like not a splash page where it's just one huge page, but they action is kind of cut up. Mm-hmm. It all bleeds into each other, and it's really hard to kind of tell what's going on. When he does like a single splash page or his covers, it's like wow, especially with the Superman stuff because he loves Superman.
Like his Superman is the definitive Superman.
Exactly.
I'd say his Captain Marvel is too.
Yeah,
just perfect.
That's the reason I love Captain Marvel so much, or Shazam now he's called, is because of Alex Ross's stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean like Superman. Those two are like as golden age hero as you can get, and he draws them in full golden age.
Yeah.
You know,
the quintessential version of that character is right there on the page.
Yeah, I mean he's amazing.
But Mark Waid also wove an awesome tale, and if anyone's familiar with the Mark Waid stuff, he is a huge fan of just kind of like the old classic superhero tales. His stuff just makes you feel good when you read it, because it's like the heroes are out there to do like just amazing things for you and want nothing in return. And that's what they're there for. It's
a Norman Rockwell comic book.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You've nailed it.
I usually get one really, really deep thought per night. And since we record like 4 or 5 of these in one sitting,
we're spent.
It's all downhill from here, people. So here's another one. Another Elseworlds book. Mm-hmm. Kind of a theme on this. None of the best Batman vs. Superman stories actually take place in real DC continuity. This is a good, really off-the-wall book. Written by Mark Miller, illustrated by Dave Stewart. Can you guess what it is? It is Superman Red Sun.
Yep.
Which reimagines Superman mythology by having Superman as an infant. His shuttle lands in Russia rather than America, and he's raised to become the Soviets' prime weapon.
Yep.
And meanwhile, because this involves Batman too, it's a criteria here for our list.
Sure.
Batman leads an anarchist cell plotting to overthrow Superman and bring down the Soviet run.
Yep.
So you've read Red Sun.
Yeah, it's really good.
You enjoy it?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. I really like when they take like the classic story and put a spin on it, like
Absolutely,
this one.
Yeah.
Especially when like Superman lands somewhere else. Like, great!
Anywhere.
I love that.
Detroit.
That would be amazing.
But it's good.
Yeah.
I read it once. I definitely could read it again. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyable, and it has a fantastic ending. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since I've read it. I don't remember every bit of it, but the ending sticks with me, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a really, really, really ingenious twist on the Lex Luthor Superman dynamic.
Yeah.
Almost to the fact where, like, I wanted it to be in continuity.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully bizarre that it just works.
Our 5th entry in this list we have going for Batman v Superman stuff is DC's Trinity. Came out in 2003 by writer-artist Matt Wagner.
Another one that I haven't read.
Yeah, I've never read this one either.
I've heard good things.
Oh, good.
Matt Wagner is kind of famous for some indie stuff. I think they're Dark Horse books. He did Grendel.
Okay.
Huge run on Grendel. And Mage. It was like a reincarnation of King Arthur.
Okay.
In current time, and he wields a bat. Just a fucking baseball bat. So why have I not read that? Or at least bought
amazing.
It. Yeah. He did some good Batman stories too, actually. He did Batman versus the Monster Men.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did a follow-up to that. And they're both it's cool because he set them in the universe of Frank Miller's Batman Year One.
Oh, nice.
Which is technically continuity, but kind of outside. But he basically just said, these are Batman stories from the start of his career. Mm-hmm. Read Year One, and then this picks up after that.
Right.
So it's before all the costumed criminals, and it's like the first time Batman fights anything other than like a gangster.
Oh, cool.
So those are cool, but not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about something we haven't read and can't vouch for. But I've heard Trinity is great, and the fact that Wonder Woman also appears in Batman v Superman, if you've been living under a rock for the last 3 years, we figured we should throw this in too. Yeah. It's supposed to be great. It kind of focuses on the early days of the DC universe during kind of the initial encounters between Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman before they formed the Justice League and became, who they are today.
The hot shots.
Exactly. Cool kids. I think it's, like all of his stuff, it's kind of a fairly simple plot line involves Ra's al Ghul in this one, I think, taking over the world, but it really focuses more on like the characterization of the three characters and just like why they've stood the test of time. Like breaks them down to their core ideals and what makes these so appealing today as well as like back when they started.
Amazing.
Yeah, and those are some of the best when they just like, it's not gritty, it's not new. Dark Knight Returns is super fucking gritty, but other than that, like, don't overdo it. Just like what makes these guys work.
Yep.
Because it's worked for 75 years. So there's a book that we haven't read,
but we believe that you should.
Yes. Give it a read. Tell us hey, let's involve the viewers in this one.
Tell us what you thought about Trinity down below.
Yep.
So with all those suggestions that we just threw out there, we feel like that is a good quintessential nice read if you want something around Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice.
Nice little package.
But, oh, sorry, were you going to continue?
No, just making weird noises with my...
So those are...
So there you have it.
Damn it. So there you have it. Some suggestions.
Well said. So those were some titles of things that exist.
Exactly.
Batman and or Superman related.
Together, maybe as one.
Yes. They seem like if you were to read these, now would be a good time. And if you were to buy these, where would you buy them from? Well, Troy, there's plenty of places you can buy from. But we've got some friends of the show, actually. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, I always want to say Philly. If you go to Philly,
you won't find
you're going to be shit out of luck. They're not there. There's no comic book stores in Philly. Pittsburgh. Go to Southside Comics in Pittsburgh. The owners, Dan and Brian, friends of the show, so they've told us.
Yeah.
Cool guys. Awesome place. Looks like a very cool place to hang out. We chatted about Daredevil and some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Grant Morrison's Nameless. You know, weird shit that like 3 people would be able to have a conversation with you about. But they're cool. They do a podcast, too. It's called, I wrote it down here, Grown Up Human Comic People. Gave it a listen. It's good stuff. I'm not a big podcast guy. You are.
Oh, yeah.
You're deep in it.
Oh, I'm in it, baby.
I've got like 2 that I listen to. Fat Man on Batman, Kevin Smith. My boy Kevin.
You got it.
And Weekly Planet, which you introduced me to.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
Yeah,
They're great.
It is.
We just keep trying to get them to reference us on their show. And by that I mean I just send them passive-aggressive emails.
You just spam them with shit.
Oh man, we're going to get on there.
Yeah.
I've got so many plans. So many schemes that I've cooked up. We're going to get on there. God help us.
Anyway, the Southside comic guys are legit. And if you're in the Pittsburgh area, go check them out. Southside Comics, at Southside Comics on Twitter if you want to hit them up on there as well.
Yep. Very cool. They have a really good online store. One of them handles the online. One of them handles the brick and mortar. Because you got to do both.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
You buy your shit online. It's great. You don't have to talk to anybody if that's your thing. If you want to go in, spark up a conversation about comics, great place to do it.
Yep.
They've got a TV in there.
Wow.
If I opened a business, I'd never think to put a TV in. That's how you get people in. Throw on Netflix. Have Daredevil playing all the time.
Which they just did last week to get into the Daredevil Season 2 mode.
And got a shout-out from Daredevil himself on Twitter, which we were shouted out to as well. And it literally made my week. The place has been in business for a year. They said they were on a bar crawl about a year ago through the Pittsburgh, not fucking Philadelphia, through the Pittsburgh area. Just kind of came up with the idea. They both liked comics. They're like, let's start a store. So they did. So there's that. Now, there's something of a movie coming out about these things as well. Troy, where can people see this? In a theater near you, obviously. But we're in Dubuque, Iowa. If you're in the area, I would recommend Mind Frame Theaters. Very cool, kind of art house, laid back theater. We have a bit of a past with them too, where we've in our non-YouTube days we filmed some movies.
Right.
And they were kind enough to lend us their theater for their filming and the eventual premiere. So really cool guys. You can go there, you can get a beer, you can get a bucket of beer.
You can get a bucket of beer.
So if you If your dream is to watch Batman and Superman pummel each other while Wonder Woman poses erotically while drinking a beer, that is the place to do it.
Right.
And, yeah, great place.
And I
highly recommend it.
I heard they have Dubuque's best popcorn.
It is the best popcorn. I went to AMC for a movie recently. I normally don't get popcorn. Got the popcorn. Big mistake. It's terrible.
Get out of here, AMC.
Yeah.
With your shit popcorn.
It's awful. It was worse than eating. It was worse than the time I ate dog shit. So that's a wrap this week. Go see Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Boo.
Tell us what you think. Did it meet expectations? Did it blow them out of the water? Or did it just blow? Who's to say right now? And after all, this is all subjective anyway. No reason to raise your voice or type anything in all caps. But if you have an opinion on it, share it. Maybe we'll call you out on the show, pick a fight with you over it. Yep. Who knows? That's what the internet's there for.
Yeah.
So Troy, play us out.
Well, that was it for Imperius Rex. Join us next time where we tell you anything you wanted to know but didn't know you wanted to know about comic books.
You got it. You got it.
This has been Imperius Rex. I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
Ghost Hunter Dave.
See you next week, everybody.
So that's pretty good. I think we should do a wrap up here.
Okay.
This is episode 1 of 4, Chelsea. 1 of 3, actually.
Well, I posted that picture, and Lisa Mapes was like, send me a link when they're all done.
Will do.
Tell her to subscribe.
Next week. Yeah, we've got like 11 subscribers.
There's a media team.
Send me a link when you're done. Why don't you subscribe to it? I don't have time for your bullshit.
We should keep all this in.
Yeah. Why not?